I feel like I probably begin all of my videos by saying this, but it has been a while. Hello friends, it's Sajid, and today I'm going to be doing the Unpopular Opinions book tag, which I did last year, but since then have acquired some new unpopular opinions that I thought are worth sharing with you all. Also, before I start, yes, I did do some... Okay, there was a bird in my window and I thought it was like some kind of other creature. Hey girl, how you doing? This video might be a bit different. That's because I rearranged my room and things are in different places now, and also I'm using a new phone to film, which may or may not be of a better quality. But enough tangential stuff, let's get into the tag. I'll have to say The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas by John Boyne. This is a very well-known, well-loved, well-acclaimed historical fiction novel set in the time of World War II, and it follows a 9-year-old German boy named Bruno, whose father is in charge of a concentration camp in Poland. He lives on the site of this camp, but obviously he lives in a nice house, and while he's there, he secretly sparks up a friendship with a Jewish boy on the other side of the fence. I could kind of get why people like this book, but at the same time, it just did not do it for me. In addition to the writing just being completely and utterly lackluster, in addition to the book being an unfortunate combination of too short for the story that it's trying to tell, and yet too drawn out at the same time, this entire thing was just completely unbelievable. Bruno's character is too naive, and I understand that he's 9 years old and he doesn't really know what's going on, and all of that is fine. But I mean, you've been talking to this boy for what is said to be a whole entire year. He has been repeatedly telling you how shitty life is on the other side of the fence. He has been telling you how they took away his father, they took away his mother, the guards are assholes who are abusing them. You've seen a guard actually abuse him, and yet you still think that there are fruit markets and freaking play parks on the other side of the fence. I think that was a lazy choice on the part of the author so that he could just get Bruno across the fence so that he can end the book in the way that he wanted to end it and jerk tears from everyone. I'll have to say Beauty Queens by Libba Bray for this one, and this is not necessarily a well-hated book, but it tends to be in the 3-star range of things when it comes to online ratings, and also people just seem to not really like it as much as I do. If you didn't know, this is a story about these teenage pageant contestants who get trapped on an island as castaways, and I absolutely love it. It is a very, very heavy satire, so maybe that's why people don't really like it, because it's very unrealistic. It kind of pokes fun as well as criticizes society and consumerism, and it's also very explicitly feminist, so if you are not feminist, this might not be your book. So I can get why people dislike it, but I absolutely love it because I thought it was hilarious. It was one of the only books that could actually make me laugh out loud, and I think that Libba Bray did an excellent job at exploring the experiences, the very unique and marginalized experiences of some of these girls, and I absolutely adored every single second of it. That for me will definitely have to be Sarkhan and Agnieszka from Uprooted by Naomi Novik. This is an epic fantasy novel about a girl who discovers that she has to fight an evil demonic forest, and it is lit. But the only thing that wasn't lit about this book was the romance, and I understand and get the fact that it was not meant to be a conventional romance, and I appreciate that, but at the same time, there was no chemistry between them, there was no bonding other than specific moments, and outside of those moments, you wouldn't expect or you wouldn't be able to see that these people can legitimately fall in love with each other. And I don't even think that this romance was included to add a subplot, because it really didn't. There was no subplot with the romance. It's just, I honestly think Naomi Novik wrote this romance so that she can just write that one sex scene, which I don't blame her for because that was a good sex scene. I generally don't reach for fantasy. There are a few exceptions like this and other books that I've read and enjoyed, or books that I am currently interested in reading. But if there's a specific type of fantasy that I will not go for, that is anything in the young adult fantasy genre. Again, of course, there are exceptions, but in general, nothing young adult fantasy interests me. So whether it's Sarah J. Maas or Cassandra Clare or anything like that, I don't care. With every fiber of my being, I despise Wolf from the Lunar Chronicles. First of all, his character was just completely bland and uninteresting. There was no development to him whatsoever throughout the entire series, other than he's a wolf and he likes to attack people and he's manly and blah 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 blah. I will say that he did play a very good role in the second book, and I appreciated what Marissa Meyer did with him, but he should have been done away by the end of it because he served no purpose in the rest of the series. In fact, this series reads like if in the original draft of it, Marissa Meyer actually did do away with Wolf. And then she seems like she just decided to stick him back into the rest of the series and move around certain things to accommodate him. He did things that were out of the character you would expect him to be. He whined and only caused problems and was a liability to the entire team for the entire thing. But what pissed me off the most about Wolf is that he really impeded on Scarlett's character development. Scarlett was already barely in the series after her book, which I did not like at all. girl. And about 50% of her rare presence in the series was her worrying about frickin' Wolf. And I know what you're saying, oh,
Sandra, but if Wolf was in the series, then who would Scarlet end up with?
Why does she need to end up with somebody? Why did every female character in this book had to have a man? It doesn't make sense. Like, she could have been happy at the end of it without Wolf. As you can probably tell, I just don't like Wolf. So, moving on to the next question. Brace yourselves. That is Charles Dickens. Yes, Charles Dickens. Now, I know that some people say that you can really fall in love with his work or really hate his work. I think I fall into the latter category because no. I tried to read Great Expectations. I could not get past chapter 4. I did not know what the hell this man was trying to do, and the story and the characters and everything was just completely bland and uninteresting for me. I also DNF'd A Christmas Carol. Yes, A Christmas Carol. That book is 95 pages long. I could not finish a 95-page long book. And I love the story of the Christmas Carol. I grew up on the movies and all of the adaptations, especially the Mickey Mouse one. But I think my issue with Dickens is the fact that his writing just does not work for me. One trope that I am absolutely sick of that happens in every single romance is when you have a boy and a girl and they're both like sassing each other. They both start off hating each other and insulting each other and they don't like each other. And the guy is just really shady in this kind of annoying dick-like way. And the girl is your typical prototype of, oh my god, I hate him, but I actually love him. Can y'all please stop with that? Like, I understand, it works in some cases. It does. But other times it feels like you're just taking this schema and shoving it into the story to make your book more marketable. And it's annoying. Stop doing it, please. Thank you. Ooh, we could go on and on all day, but for this one I'm going to say A Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin. I tried to read the first book. It wasn't difficult or uninteresting in any way. It didn't really seem like my cup of tea. I even tried the TV show. Yeah, didn't really like it at all. But that's just my opinion. I understand that people love this series, and if you do, more power to you. Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. I have no intention of reading this book anymore. I mentioned before that I want to read it. Now I absolutely do not. And if you look at like half of the reviews for it, you will see why. For this one, I will have to say Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins, which is the third book in the Hunger Games trilogy. Now my answer for this feels like a cheat because I actually did enjoy this more than the movies. But what I want to talk about is the decision that they make with the movies. We all know Hollywood has this culture, as I like to call it, of splitting the last book in series into 2 movies. They did it with Harry Potter, they did it with the Hunger Games, they're doing it with Divergent, they did it with Twilight. And most people tend to have a problem with that, especially with regards to the Hunger Games series, and I totally and completely understand that. But at the same time, I was so grateful that they split it into 2, and the reason for that was I was still reading this book when the first movie premiered. Had it premiered as just one movie, I would have probably been spoiled for the ending of it, and I was so glad that I wasn't. And also, another unpopular opinion, this was my favorite book in the series. And those are my unpopular opinions. I hope you all don't hate me. Let's hug it out. We disagree, but we agree. It's okay. I just hugged the air around my camera. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a lovely day. And until next time, inshallah, keep reading.